car out front?
The keys are in my coat pocket, but we should...
What?
Go out the back. I have another car.
Can I have my money back, please? Would you mind?
Have you ever watched an action movie from the 80s, 90s, or even a movie older than that? Then a fight scene breaks out, and you enjoy, watch, and dissect the fight choreography? Seems simple, right? Wrong. The reason you could do that is because every actor or fighter was perfectly in frame with the camera. There were no cuts in the editing room that butcher the fight scene, or would switch angles quickly and randomly to an incomprehensible mesh of an action scene. And the cameraman didn't use the terrible method ruining fight scenes of the modern day, called Shaky cam. If you don't know what Shaky cam is, then listen to Jeremy John say what he thinks about Shaky cam and his input on what Hollywood is doing wrong. It's spot on and explains to you what Shaky cam is.
Cast 2. You can tell it is a different director because of the blatant overuse of shaky cam. I gripe about shaky cam action sequences a lot in my movie reviews. I get that, but that's because directors overuse shaky cam action sequences. What's up with that shit? Shaky cam is not cool. It was never cool. A couple of directors can pull it off. The rest of you, stop doing it. Remember the days when an action sequence was properly framed up and you can just enjoy it? I miss those days. There were a couple of really cool fights in the movie that you could see. Coolest fights in the movie are the ones without shaky cam, and the fact that they're even in the movie shows that the director knows how to do it. So why the mixed signals here?
The real thing some directors or editors really think are useless are the brains and most important part of the fight scene, the fight choreographer. Here's an example of a short film that was made by a YouTuber named Darren Holmquist. His YouTube channel is DareDrek777. It's in the description. Check him out. He makes very well choreographed fight scenes and short films and knows what he is talking about because he is also a fight choreographer. He even made his own style of fight choreography. Thomas Tam plays the fight choreographer and does a great job explaining to the director what he's doing wrong, which at the same time, he's telling the director what he should be doing. Darren made this film to show people how he was treated with one of the directors that hired him to choreograph a fight in a movie.
Time for that. Okay, roll camera.
All right, rolling.
Action. No. Let's try it again. Okay, roll camera.
Rolling. Hey, real quick, before you queue up, do you think you could give them a 3 count so they can catch their rhythm?
Time is money, my friend. Action. Okay, again. Action. Okay, people, come on, let's get this right. Time is money. No, that's all bad. Again. Action. I've had enough.
We don't have a decent take.
Don't worry about it, we'll fix it in post.
I mean, chop it up real quick so no one knows what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
So how's the audience gonna follow the choreography?
Punch, kick. They'll figure it out. Moving along.
Now here's Darren Now, the founder of Daredrex Productions. He is a very talented fight choreographer, and here's his thoughts on Shaky Cam and modern action films.
Shaky Cam. Shaky Cam's kind of a tricky thing because you talk to one person about it, they call it laziness. You talk to another person about it, and it's a style. It all goes back to the show me, don't tell me aspect of filming, which is that in the end, you don't want to talk about the fight, you want to show it. A fight is characters, taking part into the story through action. And I don't explicitly mean as in through an action scene. I mean, taking the initiative in doing something for the sake of the story. And therefore making characters very proactive. A shaky cam is definitely a more recent development because back in the old days, pretty much you set your camera down and that's where it stayed. Dollies and camera movement was very rare back in the old days of camera because cameras were big, cameras were heavy. It was really hard to move them. You had to mount them, and the shot that you picked, that was the shot that everyone saw until you would cut over for coverage. As cameras got smaller, much more sleeker, definitely better quality, camera movement was definitely a lot more easier for people to do. By the 2000s, filming had definitely taken on a much more realistic approach, especially as 9/11 had happened. People were becoming cynical. It was turning into exactly what people wanted from, post-Vietnam. People were definitely wanting to see things. It is also a way in which directors that didn't know a whole lot about action could sell it even more. The difficulty about fight scenes is it takes a lot of coordination. You have to get actors that know what they're doing. You have to have stuntmen do things for actors that either insurance can't cover or they don't have the ability to do. You have to know how to shoot all of this. And the problem is, cinematographers, editors, directors, when they go to film school, you do not learn how to shoot, edit, or perform a fight scene in film or acting school. Now all of a sudden, shaking the camera is the new, fast, and easiest way to shoot fight scenes. The problem with using shaky cam as a style is a lot of the times it can come off as an excuse because in the end, you don't have to worry about if somebody knows how to fight. They can throw the world's worst punches in the world and shaky cam will cover that because your eyes are not going to absorb whether what they're doing is believable or not. All of a sudden, you've made all that coordination, slapping each other and everything, and we were doing it like really fast. So all of a sudden, a buddy of mine took the camera and started shaking it back and forth to where you couldn't see anything. And when we played it back, it looked exactly the same as if we were doing real punches and everything. While film is manipulation, people aren't really fighting, they're just trying to make it look like it's fighting. In the end, people really do actually like the sense of being authentic, where you can actually see, the movement, and you can actually see a story through the movement. A lot of people don't realize that great fights, such as the final fight of Rocky, is telling a story. And if you removed that fight, you would kill the story right there. Another thing against shaky cam when it comes to a storytelling device is, while people might be able to accept it in action, if you shook the camera, like this and everything, in a dialogue scene, it would drive you nuts. From a behind-the-camera aspect of shaky cam versus steady shots, another thing is, it takes a lot more time to do a completely steady shot of following a character, and especially with a fight scene, because on top of having to worry about if the punches line up, if the actors look believable, and you can see a little bit of motion, you can see it's a little unsteady, but it's either backed up to the point where there's still a character or a subject that you can see, and at the same time, you can follow your subject, and we can still see what's going on. And that's actually a good thing in fight scenes, is because some of the times it can build tension, it can build a sense of reality to some people, because you do get that sort of documentary feeling that some people really appreciate, because there is a niche for that. On one hand, it's not to say that unsteady movement doesn't have its place. There surely is a place. There's a place for everything in film. It's a matter of how you use it. Now, the problem with shaky cam has been that it's a lot of the times not used as an artistic choice. A lot of the times it's used as an excuse, as an artistic choice, whenever somebody doesn't like it. So handheld tends to bring a compromise. It tends to get that unsteady look that some directors, some filmmakers, some audience members really like. They like that kind of feeling of unsteady movement to give the chaotic feeling. And at the same time, you could still see what's going on. To top it off, it's great for independent filmmakers that don't tend to have stabilizers, that don't have access to dollies or anything. So they can get that feeling, and at the same time, it doesn't clearly come off as amateurish. Defenders of shaky cam always like to say that, oh, that's how a fight would actually look. You couldn't see what was going on. You couldn't remember everything clearly. And for some people, yeah, that might be a case. But in the end, that adds to the same argument that it's like, if I want to watch a real fight, I go watch a real fight, or I go get into a real fight. Not that I'm advocating that. What I'm saying is, when you watch a movie, you are still watching a movie. You're going there for escapism, and if you are trying to get, some sense of the human condition and everything, it's there, but it's still trying to be entertaining. The goal is actually to appreciate what you're watching. If you do want to gritty up the fight scene and everything, a lot of that comes from performance. A lot of the more gritty fight scenes that are out there, they're usually steady. They're usually, you can see what's going on. The Koreans especially are really making a lot of gritty fight scenes, and a lot of the times they have very artistic and stylized editing choices, but you can still see what's going on. You can watch a lot of fight scenes that are very gritty, and the key of it really is the acting performances. The fact is that the characters look like they have so much hatred within every move they do and every facial expression they do that you really get a sense of, oh my goodness, this feels real. It doesn't even matter if they throw a move into there that somebody might not be able to do because their performance is so good. In the end, there's just a beauty in being able to appreciate what you see. Not losing any sense of the geography of the fight, not losing what the character is doing, being able to appreciate what this character can and can't do, and therefore being able to root for him. Because in the end, we want to be able to see what is going on. We want to be able to understand everything. It's the same as if you wrote down a script and nobody understood what was going on in the story. They're not going to stay engaged because they can't grasp what's going on, and therefore they're losing attention. Well, it's the same thing with a fight scene. In the end, you have to be able to understand what is going on, and you have to be able to appreciate that. And it's really hard to appreciate what you can't see.
That was Darren Holmquist, the founder of Deirdre Productions. Please be sure to check out his channel. A very talented team of stunt fighters and choreographers he has there. Next week up, Kay Miller from Martial Arts Movie Junkie. Very knowledgeable, informative person. Let's see what he has to say about shaky cam and martial arts films and action sequences.
Hey guys, how you doing? This is Kay Miller from Martial Arts Movie Junkie, and I want to talk to you guys about shaky cam and what I think about it. I think it's the same with everybody, but the short of it is I hate shaky cam. But I want to give you guys a more detailed reason as to why I don't like shaky cam. So let's go back to when martial arts films were filmed differently. If you listen to a lot of interviews, especially by Jackie Chan, he says that fighting is like dancing, and I think that's true.
Turn around, throw. Oh, see how pretty? I want pretty. I don't want fighting. I want the fighting is like a dancing. So, pah! And with the sound effect, then the guy coming.
I don't think I'm weird for saying this, but I feel like martial arts films should be filmed like musicals are filmed, with the camera pulled back so that you can see the entire choreography and the movement. It allows the audience to see a lot more of the action, what's going on. Yes, it's harder to film, but at the same time, you let them pick up on the subtleties. You don't point out everything that's cool. Like, ooh, did you see him block this kick with his back foot? No, you let them see it. And sometimes it may take them a couple views for them to catch it, but that's the beauty of it, is you get to see the whole fight without any crazy cuts. It's about the fight itself, and That's what it should be about. Now, I know that filming styles have changed and things like that, but at the same time, if a movie like Annie, that had like 8-year-old and 10-year-old girls, could do a shot or a take that took 30, 40 seconds, I don't see why martial artists wouldn't be able to either. So I don't necessarily think it's a skill level thing. I think it's more choice. It's creative choice, and I don't understand why. Now, there are some people who don't know how to fight, who are action stars that don't know how to do screen fighting. And for them, they use shaky cam and ridiculous editing to cover up the fight. Now, this has to do with the name, other than the talent. It's more about selling a name and getting somebody big on film so that they can make money, as opposed to actually showing somebody's talents and their capabilities. So a lot of times people don't want to take a risk, and it's sad, and that's why there's so many remakes of films, because it's not that there's nothing new, it's that they don't want to take a risk on something new, especially with these films now, these big budget films that are bombing and flopping. But I think it's the opposite. I think that people are tired of seeing the same thing and they want something new and fresh. So maybe it's time to go back to the traditional filming methods and get rid of shaky cam. Another thing is where the budget is being used on these films. When you do shaky cam, when you do these ridiculous editing techniques, a lot of times the money goes into the special effects to make it look fancy, to make it look good. So the money is going into the effects and the post-production, as opposed to the pre-production, where they should be doing like the rehearsals, building the sets, training and getting these fights just nailed down to perfection. And a lot of times I feel like it's a missed opportunity. I feel like if you guys have seen Ninja Assassin, for example, they use the whole budget within the last like 30 minutes. There's like helicopters and explosions, and it's just like I felt like they should have used that money to rehearse more and put more into the fights themselves instead of making them look spectacular, like people for what they're capable of, what the talents are. So that's the main thing. I just don't like shaky cam. I feel like it's really disorienting. There's a lot of films that use it, and I understand that modern films nowadays will use it to some extent. Even The Raid had some shaky cam in it, so that's fine. It's just when you overuse it and that's all you use to cover up different things, that's when it's really hard to really accept it and be okay with it. So that's my 2 cents on shaky cam. I hope it gives you some insight as to why I think the way I do, and I'm really curious to see what you guys think about it as well. So that's all I got. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.
2 people down, 1 more to go. Remember, that was Kelly Miller from Martial Arts Movie Junkie. He's a very knowledgeable guy. Make sure to check out his website, www.martialartsmoviejunkie.com, or his YouTube channel, Martial Arts Movie Junkie. He has specials like Fight of the Week on Tuesdays and Finishing Blow on Fridays, where he keeps you up to date with all things martial arts films and action movies. Very knowledgeable guy. Now, speaking of knowledgeable, let's add one of the best fight choreographers on YouTube, Eric Jacobus, the founder of the Stunt People, a very popular screen fighting and stunt team who made the first-person Darth Vader series, which they made a Kickstarter for. Anyways, Eric is going to shake his camera while he is talking. And the reason is, he's trying to prove to you that even though right now you're just listening to somebody talk, imagine trying to figure out the geography, the choreography, who's who during a fight scene, and it's extremely difficult to do that.
Hi, this is Eric Jacobus. I think shaky cam can be actually very beneficial to your video. I think there's a time and place for it. I think that the main point of shaky cam is so that the director or filmmaker can convey a certain sense of energy, of confusion, and whatever it might be to your scene. And if that's what you want out of the audience, if you don't want the audience to be paying attention to what you're saying, then by all means, shaky cam is the way to go. That's why I would use shaky cam. And frankly, whenever I do see shaky cam, I don't really know what the person was talking about or what the scene was even about. So that's my view on shaky cam. Thank you.
So shaky cam is mostly an American development. It's not used in many other countries. They keep the camera steady and stable. So here's a Korean fight scene. It's from the movie Oldboy. It's very popular. If they can make the camera as steady as can be to prove that they don't need shaky cam to make a fight scene, and you're like, oh my god, I know this fight scene is so awesome, then why are we doing it in America? So now here, enjoy one of my favorite fight scenes, and one of your favorite fight scenes probably, the fight scene from Oldboy. The Oldboy fight scene is one of the best fight scenes ever made from the notorious and amazing Korean suspense movie Oldboy. This fight scene is the anti of CGI because it uses real people and has them act as if most didn't know martial arts and they didn't break character the whole time. This fight took 17 takes to accomplish and 3 days to film. It's one of the most realistic fight scenes of all time. This fight scene is special because it's on a tracking sideways dolly shot the whole time. They don't need to shake up the camera because all the stuntmen and Choi Min-sik, the lead actor, don't break character. It's as stable as a camera can be. You just sit back and watch the smooth fight scene with no cuts, and Chan-wook Park make a realistic and amazing scene, just like the old days. And by the way, this fight is 3 minutes and 20 seconds long. That's a lot of screen fighting. They even had the main character get stabbed halfway through and keep it in his back while he finishes off the rest of the henchmen. There is also no misses in this fight scene, which is very pleasing because it's from a wide angle, and that is very hard to do from a wide angle. I'm curious to see how it's going to be redone in the American remake of Oldboy, which is coming out on November 27th, 2013. If they cut the camera once or make it incomprehensible with less than 32 henchmen and a stunt double, I will probably leave the theater. Even though Josh Brolin, which is the main lead of the remake of Oldboy, had some very awesome fight scenes in the January movie Gangster Squad. Not every director in Hollywood uses shaky cam in the end, which puts a smile on my face and hopefully puts a smile on yours. Look at this fight scene from the movie King Kong, the remake. Peter Jackson does a great job not breaking continuity and making sure even though this whole scene is CGI, it could still be made without shaking up the camera realistically. Not that I'm saying that you're going to see a giant gorilla fighting 2 T-Rexes and trying to protect a woman at the same time, but if it were to happen, it would happen something like that, and they don't need to make you disoriented to believe that. So I'm glad that America is trying to creep away from the shaky cam, but at the same time, for some great movies with great anticipation, it just bites us. Anyways, I'm curious to see your favorite American and foreign fight scenes, so comment below and tell me which ones are your favorite, because it's always great to get feedback from the audience. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed learning from this short documentary, and the links to all the fights shown here are in the description, as well as the people that made an opinionated shaky cam video for me, which are Darren, Eric, and Kelly. Their YouTube channel is also in the description, and thank you Darren, Eric, and Kelly so much for taking time out of your day and making your videos for me. I can't describe how thankful I am to have worked with that team of people that helped make this happen. Also, a much respected shout out for Jeremy Johns, whose channel is also in the description, as well for his thoughts on shaky cam. Jeremy, if you are watching this, and I want to let you know you made my week with your thoughts on shaky cam, and your movie reviews are impeccable. I also want to thank Adam from AJL Stunts, Enzo Productions, Robert, and Ethan for letting me use their fight scenes while I narrated. Thank you, and your fight scenes are awesome. That's really all I have to say. You guys should definitely check their channels out. They're also in the description. And lastly, I want to thank you guys for watching this documentary. I had just as much fun making it as you had watching it. If you like fight scene compilations, action movies, countdown lists, fight scene resound, anything you request that you want to see from me, then subscribe to my channel, Brass Knuckles Films 13. And take care. Thank you and stay awesome. Until next time, farewell from Brass Knuckles Films. And make sure to check out some of my other videos I have on my channel. The best fight scenes I've seen in a video game, the best finishing moves I've seen in a fight scene, and my favorite Bond fights I have on my channel. Check them out, and check out some of my playlists that I have, where stellar fight scenes, spectacular fight scenes, killer fight scenes, more killer fight scenes. It's just 200. It's groups of 200 fight scenes that I've seen on YouTube, either from a movie or from a YouTube channel that I love. So check them out if you want to. And keep that camera steady for me, will ya?